Let's see if that works. Um, but yeah, welcome. Thank you. And I'm really grateful for your patience. Just give me a minute here to settle in, get all the things happening, pull up all this stuff. Um, this is definitely an interesting, I don't know. This is the best way I've found to figure out this whole OBS situation over here. But okay. Actually is probably better if I just stayed on YouTube. But I'm so sorry for delaying this and for being a little scattered. I am getting in my head and yeah. Okay, now can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you see me now? Okay. Seems like it's working, right? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yes. So I shared the screen I was reading and then there we go. All right. Um so this is what it pulled up. This is really hard because I can't really see, the chat this way, but we'll make it work. So this is what it pulled up, the original Leslie Sloan thing. And then but here it clearly states the motion for a stay of discovery is denied, signed by Judge Louis J. Lyman. Boom. So that's like awesome. I mean, I feel bad to be that excited about it, but I mean, it just sounded ridiculous what they were trying to say. They were just like, "Oh well, New York Times got the stay for discovery. We want that too." So yeah, yeah. Do like a little like party emoji or whatever in the chat if you're excited about this because I'm excited about this. And yeah, I don't know if that just happened. I have been doing my physical therapy exercises, so I don't know if anyone else went live. It says 11:10. So yeah, so that was like an hour ago. I'm sure someone went live and announced it. But the only thing is like we don't have the actual document yet. It just has the this for so all the rest of the things, but I was watching Lauren's live earlier from yesterday, I think, when Brian Friedman basically replied, you know, not by line, but paragraph by paragraph, like, yes, we admit to this, but the rest, A, we deny, or B, we don't even understand it to be able to agree or deny with it. Yeah, all the party emojis. And so yeah, like I was saying yesterday, like if I was Brian Friedman, I would just like come like at it, like one I don't know if I said one by one, but like yeah, you want receipts, let's give you or not receipts, but you want precise or whatever the word they use, I'll show you that. Because from what we've seen, he's done everything more legally, more factually, and more and kind of less not completely void of, but less theatrically. They kind of met in tone, but not too much. Yeah, party, motion to deny, then or motion to stay denied, party. Okay, but I'll get back to this really fun motion to this to be a fun one. But yeah, expected, but I was saying that copy New York Times as if like, oh, they got some treatment, like, oh, let's try that too. Not realizing they're not a publication, they're individuals. And yeah, I was gonna say no one likes them, but that doesn't matter in court. All right. So I'm hoping this is a good sign. Yes, he's been respectful. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know though for Ryan Reynolds, to be honest, for his motion to dismiss, they do bring up some interesting Ryan Reynolds is concerned. As far as Blake Lively, I I doubt, very much doubt that he will dismiss anything in terms of this. Or I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out because I have barely barely seen this. I might as well close this one. Okay. Let me bring this down. Sorry, the screen will change for a little bit because I'm trying to settle in here. How do I removed? Oh, how do I remove? Okay, there we go. The Wayfarer party's vengeful. just just off the bat. I have not listened to this. I have not read this. Hi, Rabia. Hi, welcome. I don't know if you were here, but the party is that the motion to deny. Oh my gosh, I keep screwing it up. The motion to stay discovery from Leslie Sloan has been denied. So they will go ahead, I guess, with the discovery. Uh, this is all we have so far. The document is just the Leslie Sloan original document. MTD is motion to dismiss. Yes, yeah, because they actually used that in Ryan Reynolds's motion to dismiss, and I was like, great, less words for me to screw up and more letters. But yeah, all right. The Wayfarer Party's vengeful and rambling lawsuit against Blake Live. Did I say Blake Live? The Wayfarer Party's vengeful and rambling lawsuit against Blake Lively is a profound abuse of the legal process that has no place in the federal court. Off the bat, pot kettle. I mean, not even because they weren't rambling. They were like literally coming with receipts with no, this is not false because or this is not false, this is false because, or we deny because, or whatever. Rambling is what Blake Lively wrote beginning and second, right? Sorry, that just like got to me because I'm like, what are you, not even pot kettle, but like what's like a better that's such a weird phrase. What's a better phrase that replaces that? But it's not even the same thing. Blake Lively's rambling. Word salad has become associated with her for us. I was actually what was oh yeah, 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 yeah. There was um nope, I got something in politics. I forget. I think John Oliver was saying something, and switching to a clip to, so I don't even know who, trying to say yes, Mahmoud Khalil should be, he's a bad person, he should be detained, whatever. And he was word salading. He's like, well, yeah, because he, you saw on TV and this and that and blah blah. So, like, word salad is Blake Lively to us, and like now it's everywhere. But for individuals, sorry, connection is unstable again. I'm sorry if you're going to miss stable because my stepfather is home, so he might be in a meeting, and that might be taxing the system. I don't know. So I'm so sorry for that. They all made no sense. I can't believe they even filed anything. Yeah. Um. Okay. The law prohibits weaponizing defamation lawsuits like this one to retaliate against individuals who have filed legal claims or have publicly spoken about sexual harassment and retaliation. The right to seek legal redress, and the right of the press to report on it are sacred principles that are protected by multiple privileges, including the litigation and fair report privilege, which are absolute. Moreover, by choosing to bring their claims under California law, the Wayfarer parties have voluntarily subjected their entire lawsuit to the sexual harassment privilege in the recently enacted California Civil Code Section 47.1. I'll leave that to all the lawyers to talk about, which bars the retaliatory lawsuits based on public disclosures of sexual harassment and related allegations, including disclosures to the press. But they were like, what's the difference between a retaliatory lawsuit and a defense lawsuit? Because I think I did watch someone, I don't know, I don't remember exactly the words read, but uh like they don't have a right to defend themselves, then anyone can claim SH all the time, here and there and everywhere, for any boss, for anything in Hollywood, outside of Hollywood. So I don't think this makes sense. And disclosures to the press, who disclosed it to the press? They didn't even ask for this. So what? I mean, they disclosed, well, okay, they did disclose it to TMZ, although we don't know if TMZ had reached out to them too. But yeah, there is kind of that. But the New York Times was already reaching out. They're like, we're publishing this tomorrow. So I don't know that that would be like such a technicality that I wouldn't find it if I was a judge, but I'm not. So I don't know all the different things that they think about. But I wouldn't find that mm, important enough, like a big enough technicality for it to matter. I don't know if that's even true. Moreover, by choosing to bring their claims under California law, oh, sorry, did I read that? Yes, I did. Sorry about that. Given all of these protections, the Wayfarer party's chief complaint that Miss Lively and others supposedly conspired with the New York Times is barred as a matter of law. She was legally entitled to file her complaint and disclose it to the public. I'm sorry, but if this is like really so, this would be really messed up if this is the case. I'm just saying, because again, everyone can then file something, claim this person did this or whatever, whether true or not, and then they can't do anything about it. I will say that I was watching, like I said, Billy Bush, Army Hammer on Billy Bush's podcast, and he was kind of in that scenario where I think for 2 years like they kept stalling the verdict or whatever. And so like the press was just saying the bad stuff that was actually not found to be true for 2 years or something. So again, like that doesn't sound very good. Sorry, my parakeet is like in her glue stage right now. um but so yeah, this is kind of, we'll see. I mean, just from reading it, like this might stand on top so far. On top of that, Section 47.1 contains a mandatory fee shifting provision that will require the Wayfarer parties to pay not only Miss Lively's attorney's fees, oh my gosh, that would suck, but also treble damages and punitive damages if and when their defamation lawsuit is dismissed. Her boosting. It's cute. Wait, I think she like. Oh, she found the microphone. Okay. In other words, um, is in an epic self-own, the Wayfarer parties have created more liability for themselves by their malicious efforts to sue Miss Lively into oblivion. Steve said, I don't, that part, no. Steve Sarowitz may indeed make good on his threat to spend $100 million litigation against Miss Lively, but perhaps not in the way he planned. So they're like, oh, okay, you're going to pay all of our fees on top of like the damages and everything. That's what they're trying to say. Now, this is going to, I think this will take a little longer for the judge to not deny, we don't know, but to respond to this. Among its many additional incurable defects, the fact does not allege a single element of the defamation or false light claims properly, starting with the failure to allege defamatory statements with specificity, that was the name. Instead, lumping all plaintiffs' claims together as an impermissible group leading. Brushing aside this obvious problem, the Wayfair parties have repeatedly asserted in recent filings that their claims against all the consolidated defendants, including Miss Lively, arise from two principal categories of defamatory statements: allegations that Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath engaged in sexual misconduct towards Miss Lively, and allegations that the Wayfair parties are orchestrated a retaliatory smear campaign to damage Lively's image. Sorry. Oh my gosh, every time I get hiccups. I think because I'm not breathing right when I'm reading. Um to damage Lively's image and reputation after she reported their purported misconduct. I hate that word. I don't know. It's so hard to pronounce. Um okay. But and to all of this, like uh I almost called him Ryan. Brian Friedman already went back, and that's, I think, why he's like, okay, let me go paragraph by paragraph. I was confused because she filed her CRD in California. Why is the case in New York? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is a very good question, Rabia. That's a very good question. Um, so yeah, I think her initial was filed, her CRD complaint was filed in California, but then the lawsuit was filed in New York City, Southern District of New York, or whatever. And I think they were talking about because they reside there, the things that happened there because they filmed there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So like the majority of weight was on New York. But also people I think have speculated because New York would be not televised. It's federal court. Maybe there's like other things like that. That would be a great question maybe for ask two lawyers. Or like lawyers. I know what's her name, Emily D. Baker. She might have already answered this early on when she was covering this, but she's been covering other things. Yeah, she lives in New York, so filing in California didn't make sense. Or yeah, maybe because of what she just said that like under California or civil code, it bars retaliatory lawsuits based on public disclosures. So yeah, I can see like I'm confused too with the loop. Like, so where are we? Where are we filed? Where are we filing? Which law are we going to choose? Are we going to pick and choose whatever fits us? I can understand how that sounds, and I wish I could tell you more. I wish I could answer that question, but I'm not a lawyer in that part. Maybe like further on, we'll see. I don't think in this complaint though. I don't know. But that's a very good question. It's a very good question. Yeah, it is quite confusing. Let me hold on one second. Sorry, so sorry. Oh boy, I just need to close the window here because it's gotten cold and oh boy. Oop. Mm, okay. All right. Moving on. Just just I'm like, do I need to say something else? Where was I? I just had a complete like brain freeze moment. Okay. I trust Natalie, the lawyer chick, over Emily Baker in these situations. Okay, yeah. I didn't know about yeah, just any I mean, I guess yeah, not any lawyer, but whoever you trust, but any lawyer would have a response much at least they would know laws more than I do. That's all I'm saying. Oh gosh, that got me out of breath. All right. This admission is fatal to the claims, as these two principal categories make clear the only alleged wrongdoing the fact attributes to Miss Lively stems from her speaking up about harassment and retaliation, which is firmly protected by each of the litigation, fair report, and sexual harassment privileges. I thought they were saying more things, but okay. In any event, the bulk of the Wayfair party's reputation-based claims are time barred because the fact expressly admits that Miss Lively first published her allegedly defamatory sexual harassment accusation in her 17-point list in November 2023, more than 1 year before the Wayfair parties initiated this action and thus outside the 1 year statute of limitations. I don't think they thought they were sexual harassment accusations, though. I think they thought, hey, this is like, you must agree to these contingencies. I don't think it's the same thing, but that's like only they know this. Yeah, parakeet. Um, this is so weird. And as for their menacing $400 million damages claim, the Wayfair parties do not even try to explain its basis, much less specifically allege their so-called injuries. Sorry, my brain just changed things. Hi, P. Um, I know people were saying that at the beginning, but the one that people were talking. That was so annoying. I was like, "If I would do that in your meeting, in the middle of your meeting, would you like that? No, it would have been like, as we call it in Romanian, scandal." So, it's that's just gonna try to move on because that's life right now. And I decided to add my okay. Yeah, I did I was going to say that because I caught that yesterday when you were switching when you were going to work. But yeah, so it's two Marias. Maybe we'll get a third one. Spread the word. We need another Maria on this live. Okay. So, continuing on. Let's go back to so far, I will say, I know later on it gets a little bit more frustrating and just like eye rolling, but so far it's gotten me a little bit shaken because I'm like, well, yeah, if this is the legality of it, if these are the laws, I don't believe they should be because then anyone can, claim sexual harassment and then just well, you have to put up with it, but, I don't know. I don't know. It's so complicated because at the end of the day, it's so much, and not so much, but it can be so much down to power and money. Who has the more money to like go through this? Um, so I don't know. Happy Friday, P. Happy Friday. It feels like Thursday, but happy Friday. Happy 2 live day. But tonight's live is going to be like just kind of chill and chat. Ooh, that's what I should call it. Okay, yet another. If I can get through this, okay. Let me focus. Let me do this. Yet another of the facts insurmountable deficiencies in its utter failure to allege actual malice, i.e., that Miss Lively subjectively did not believe the sexual harassment allegations she raised. Here we go again. Other than many pages of empty bluster, the fact not only fails to allege actual malice, no, it pleads just the opposite by demonstrating her good faith beliefs. Among other things, the fact incorporate is this kind of like that video? Like, see, look, the video shows exactly what we're saying. Is she not maybe understanding or is she doing that on purpose? We don't know. Among other things, the fact incorporates by reference a damning text message between Mr. Baldoni and Miss Nathan, in which both agree that Miss Lively genuinely believes she's right and that all of this is unjust. I don't think she was say they were saying I will stand by this. I am 99.9 sure they were not talking. I remember that text and I wish I had like the like where like I don't know. agility to pull that up. But I remember the text being that she believes that she's right. Do you hear the parakeet being really loud right now? She believes she's right in this battle, not necessarily that she was sexually harassed. I think that's a difference that, they're trying to get away with right now, but I'm 99.9% sure that's how I took it. That's in the context of that the whole message is that she believes she's right in doing this and she won't stop, and that all of this is unjust. But maybe they're referring to another text message than I remember. Uh, oh, okay. No, sorry for that. Um, yeah. Sorry, that took me off guard. Um, yeah. So, among other things, the FAQ incorporates by reference this an admission which the FAQ cannot overcome. In lieu, okay. So wait, number 51. Okay, let me. Oh gosh, where is it? Let me. I just said like, oh, I wish I had the agility, but this is my like that my tenacious or whatever, like ambitious, not ambitious, but tenacious. Like I can give something up once I put something in my mind. Like, oh, I need to figure this out. I need to see what, especially when it comes to like proof and you know things like this. All right, let's see if I can pull up the amendment, the complaint. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where my parakeet just went. Goodness gracious. Aru, Aru. Hmm. Oh, I'm so sorry. They made the lawsuit, what, lawsuit info or whatever, the website. Okay. I was like, I need to find it um in my files, whatever. So 50. I think it's in this one. 50. Okay. No, this is not that. 50 where? Wait. Okay, so it's not by paragraph. What is she Oh, 155. Okay, hold on. There's 155. Aru. This is why the Wi-Fi went out, because she's right by the Wi-Fi. That's not true, because that happened before, but um no. Okay. I don't know how to search for this. ECF number. Oh, maybe that's like different. Sorry. I think I was like searching for different things. But it's one of these messages. Oh my gosh, sorry. Hold on. Because we can't have the Wi-Fi going out again because someone is, what are you even doing? Like go. Go, mate, go. She was playing with like a UV filter. Okay. And my cousin left. It's like, oh yeah, let me play with this glass. Um, okay. I mean, this is almost kind of null because of what's his name's, was it page 150? No, I got it. Sorry. Because of Ryan Friedman's response. I don't know. Okay, fine. I give I tried to just give up. This is gaslighting mess, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah. All right. In lieu of concrete facts, the fact the fact resorts to implausible conjecture and conspiracy to allege that Miss Lively falsified her allegations. I don't make just shush shush. Sorry, welcome to my life in the last few days. Um Oh, alleged that Miss Lively falsified her allegations. On the one hand, the Wayfarer parties insist that Miss Lively is an immensely powerful Hollywood superstar who, along with her influential husband, power to steal creative control over the film. But on the other hand, they claim she was so powerless that the only way she could have any power was by manufacturing sexual harassment allegations almost a year in advance in a Machiavellian long game. No, I, I don't think that's what they're saying. These concepts contradict each other. No, they don't. Other than, I mean, no, they don't. It's literally the power. That's literally part of the power that, they went by. And I don't even know that she initially went with this in mind. I think maybe she was trying to like, oh, I think it's, like, more complex than this, but I don't think she, like, went into the movie like, "Oh, I'm going to have these allegations against this director and get it." I don't think that that was the initial plan. I don't think that's what they were saying either. Um, but, both things can, like, happen at the same time where I think her making up sexual assault or sexual harassment allegations, I don't think that's like factual to what anyone is saying. I think it's taking misrepresenting because she wasn't making things up from like so sorry about the internet stuff. Um Okay, these two concepts contradict each other, therefore cannot exist. Even if these bizarre theories made sense, which they do not, the fact offers no plausible for the conclusory assertion that Miss Lively even subjectively doubted that any of the misconduct she alleged had occurred as she described it, including the in the 17-point list that they signed, the disclosures made in the January 4th meeting, or her eventual legal complaints. Indeed, despite its narrative fury against her, the fact repeatedly and consistently includes facts that demonstrate Miss Lively's genuine good faith belief that she was mistreated and her appropriate and private efforts to improve the situation for herself and others. Efforts, I'm so sorry, but that is false. Appropriate efforts would have been, even private, going to HR, going to the union, those things are not public. Those things are private. But there are the appropriate methods and efforts to do in such a case if you're mistreated. Handling it on your own and using it as leverage that you won't come back, that you will not promote, that you will not do this, that you will do that, and give me power to edit, give me this and that. That is not appropriate and private effort to improve this. um As for facts, other claims are whether a civil extortion claim exists under California law. But even if it does, the nature of the alleged extortion is so convoluted that it cannot survive. The so-called extortion arises out of the exact of protected speech that fail to support defamation. Miss Lively support threats to reveal her sexual harassment claims if the Wayfarer parties did not give in to her demands for creative control of the movie. Threats which are never specifically identified anywhere in the fact. Moreover, the fact does not allege what money or property Miss Lively received from the Wayfarer parties for her way into editing a movie for no additional pay. Well, but that doesn't mean I would say that's not the same thing because if you kick him out and you take on the future movies, I would say that matters. I would say that counts. Although yes, you can't prove what didn't happen yet, or probably now and at all, but I would say is like It's not plausible deniability, but like it's plausible. It's something to consider. Indeed, the fact's self defeating claim appears to be that Miss Lively bullied her way into doing more work than she was contractually obligated to do without additional compensation, while Wayfair profited handsomely from the movie's blockbuster success. Sorry, that was just so painful to read. So audacious for her to claim the success because of her doing more work that no one asked for. No one asked for. And what are they benefiting from it? Being sued? I don't where's the benefit? Let me see where the benefit she's claiming them to have be. Notably, the Wayfarer parties did not pursue any action against Miss Lively for the supposed extortion until after she filed legal claims, which speaks volumes about this lawsuit's purpose. Oh, let's talk about no one like did anything before something. Because who filed an SH lawsuit not at the time that it happened, not at a time where it was irrelevant, the publicity of it, the um potential win from it, but waited for that to be the case. But she didn't file it when it happened. She didn't even file a complaint, according to Sony or anyone. So let's talk about that. Pursuing legal action until after, you know? Okay. They also didn't do anything in the public until it. So, I mean, from what we saw in the timeline. The FAQ also claims that Miss Lively violated the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, but cannot identify any term upon which that duty hinges. As with above, this claim seems to be based on Miss Lively doing more than was contractually required rather than a breach of any obligation. That's still a breach of not a breach of contract, but breach of obligation because like if you like go into a corporate office and take over the CEO's job, I don't think that is allowed, for free. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If you're taking claim for it, is it especially doesn't matter. They're seasoned actors. She never thought to complain to SAG. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Talking about like, oh, she sought appropriate action or efforts. It ends with us profited because of JB's hard work with victims and because the book was a hit, hence why JB bought. Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't know it was a hit at the time that he bought it. And that book like started being a hit a year, 2 years after he bought the rights. But yeah, that's why this book was going to be a hit because it was the highly anticipated, book that was like blowing up in what 2019 or 2021. 2021, I don't know. I think he bought it in 2019. I have the slide somewhere. I never understood why she didn't. Yeah, no one understands. And then she's trying to say that she's doing things the right way. She's doing things the convenient way. And she's doing things only after the public hated her in the media. And she's like, well, this can't be just me. This has to be because they are putting these stories that, I mean, nothing was put about her that wasn't true. That's the other thing. That's the other thing. Nothing was put out there that wasn't true. But this, I think I will say that reading this, it makes me think again, unlike Ryan Reynolds's BS, it makes me think like, okay, this will be an interesting trial. This will be an interesting um fight, um because it's complex and it kind of makes me think again at the complexities of the timeline and how it's not like you said this, they said this, it's real world where things are like complex. I said complex so many times. The text, etc., show a Wayfair and Sony didn't want her involved to the degree that she forced her way into. Yeah, but she did it out of the goodness of her heart, and that's why the movie is such a success. And how dare they complain that they are being sued? That anything else, because they didn't sue her for taking over the movie. They brought that up because she sued them. Yeah. How dare they? Finally, the Wayfair parties claim that Miss Lively interfered with a contract, yet are unable to identify the contract, any of its terms, who it was with, or how it was breached. Um, and I will say that the one thing I remember from uh, business law, we had like one semester of business law, and I wish I would have taken more. Probably should have gone more into law, but I didn't want the craziness of law, because yeah. But contracts are not just like signed. Her accepting the offer to be in the movie, that's I feel where the contract starts. So whether or not she signed it is going to be interesting, because I think it depends by state and it depends on like other things. But I think technically she was under the contract, even if she didn't sign the paper contract of it. So that's going to be interesting, because I think that's what my mind goes to when I read that. Uh, entitled much, yeah, yeah. I theorize that. I theorize had she got SAG involved, her master plan to take over the movie wouldn't have worked. SAG can shut down a production up to 180 days to investigate. I read that on SAG site. I'm sorry, I'm not using OBS. I'm just using YouTube, so I can't like highlight and pull up your comment. But yeah, yeah. I think there's a huge highlight to be had, rightly so, over why she didn't file initially with SAG. Um, Even like complaint or no complaint. But yeah, what was her reasoning? Because again, I believe that's private. I believe those things can be held just as private, more private, I would say, than a lawsuit, which is always public domain, I believe. So, yeah. Well, sorry, the complaint is in public domain, but she made it public. So this is the thing. This is the thing. So she changes her story, or they change the story constantly, because she wanted it to be private, and people speculate that's why she did the CRD complaint. But then she wanted it to be public because she went to New York Times. But she wanted it to be private, and how dare they respond because it was supposed to be private. I just I hate this so much. AB 9933 in California bill in 2023 expands the definition of a privileged communication to include communications made without malice regarding sexual assault, harassment, or discrimination. Okay. Um, no reason she shouldn't have gone to SAG. Yeah. Expands the definition of privileged communication. Does that mean that if she was texting someone like, "Oh, I think this is happening to me," that's privileged communication? Or like, "Oh my gosh, he's doing this to me," kind of thing? I'm a union member, but not in entertainment, and union members are constantly reminded of their rights and to file. So I know SAG makes it clear to the members. Yeah. Yeah, with especially after Me Too movement, I'm sure there were like refreshers and like, hey, make sure you can do this, like anything that happens, any time you feel this or that or whatever, I'm sure. And that wasn't what Me Too was 2017, 2018, 2019, something, 2016. It wasn't that far off. It wasn't that long ago. It was like kind of 10 years ago, but that yeah. That's how, some is a lie when someone's story consistently changes. Yeah, yeah. Well, it changes. Yeah. Like, oh, this is in my favor. No, but this is in my favor. And so that was like Ryan's motion to dismiss. It's like, well, he didn't know, or he really believed it. Sorry. No, he didn't say that. But if he said that, he really believed it. That was a mess. That was a mess. I wonder if these judges like laugh when they're reading this. Like, what are they talking about? What are they doing? Do they even see that we see through it? Okay. In short, nothing in the fact resembles an actionable legal claim. It is instead a blunt public retaliations instrument. Don't think that S was supposed to be there. Designed to further the Wayfarer Party's sinister campaign to. No one's buying your sinister word, so just don't even put that crap in here. Sinister. They're not being sinister. You are. Campaign to bury and destroy Miss Lively for speaking out about sexual harassment and retaliation. The court should dismiss the fact and, as required by California law, hold further proceedings to calculate an appropriate award for Miss Lively's attorney's fees, treble damages for the harm this meritless lawsuit has inflicted on her, and punitive damages against each of the Wayfarer parties. Wait, that sounds like she's like, I think the court should already decide to do this, and that's it. In the end, we all go home. I don't think that's what she's saying, but that's what comes across. Sorry, poop situation, poop break. Um, man, wow. Background. I love Brian Friedman's responses yesterday, short and sweet to each comment. Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. I didn't watch all of it, and I can't access the files. I was watching Lawrence videos on that, and yeah, it was like very to the point, no frills, no anything. I mean, he knows. I think they might be really upset that they didn't get him first because Justin got him first. But I don't even know if Brian would have. I don't think, I was thinking about that when I was watching that. Oh, this guy has like so many muscle, those like muscly guys that are like triangles. Sorry, that was gross me out watching HGTV. So live. So if you turn it on, you'll see what I mean. Um, but yeah, I was thinking like with Brian Friedman, if they went to him earlier on and he's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think they did. I don't think they had time because I think Justin, what Melissa, I think, told him like, hey, you need a lawyer, like make sure you get one, because he was like too like, no, it's fine, or like he was kind of, yeah, it's fine, but not, I don't know. And so he did that, and yeah, it's not grabbed Brian Friedman, but yeah, he doesn't play. I don't know, has he lost any cases? Does anyone know? I don't know. Because all that I've heard from him is that he does what he does and he's good at it. And he doesn't play around and he doesn't play around. Um, and what we've seen is okay, it was maybe too lengthy or this or that or whatever. Um, and you could say, well, they started it, Blake Lively started it, and or whatever you can say, but he stuck to facts. I'm pretty sure, don't know, went through all the communication, all the things that he had access to before, knowing what to file, what to say, etc. Um, what they could be thrown with, all this stuff. I don't know, because that would be what a good lawyer does. Meanwhile, her lawyers are just crap. But I don't know, they're coming back, I guess. I don't think Brian Freeman would have taken it because the bar is too high. Yeah. Yeah, I think just seeing the communication and stuff that we saw between them and things, I don't know. I don't think he would have wanted to see too much probably for them, and he would have instantly said like, No, I'm not smelling this. I don't smell this being good." I wasn't in the union in my old job. I know members were encouraged to report workplace issues to them. Yeah. Um, yeah, okay. All right. The fact acknowledges numerous on-set incidents that make up Miss Lively's sexual harassment claim. Far from suggesting her claims are untrue, the fact, while quibbling with Miss Lively's characterization of events, in full of admissions, is full of admissions that the incidents underlying Miss Lively's sexual harassment claims occurred. And this is where he's like, "We admitted this, but deny everything else." That's because she's like, "Well, see, they said themselves that she believes it's true," and he's like, "Okay, let me get more specific. Let us get exactly specific to what we actually claim is factual as far as we know it, and what we don't know or claim it's not factual." As set forth in the facts, shooting of the film began on May 16th, 2023. Starting on the first day, according to the fact, each of the following incidents occurred. After the first day, Mr. Baldoni entered Miss Lively's trailer to voice his concerns that Miss Lively looked unflattering in publicly released photographs. During the meeting, Mr. Baldoni became emotional and told Miss Lively that he thought her appearance was failing to meet audience's expectations. And I please tell me how that is harassment on any level. Any level. What the freaking heck? What the freaking heck? I want to know why they Blake Lively side says, "See, this is a point to make that he was inappropriate with Miss Lively." Exactly. I'm getting my parakeets riled up too now. I checked, and there's no public record of definite losses where BF is concerned. Okay, yeah, that's good. So, because yeah, I mean, if he has a reputation he wants to maintain, he's not going to take a case that he knows it's a high chance he will lose, or it's improbable. He knew what he was taking on. And I think that that merits some confidence on the public side too. Like, in a world where we can't trust media, politicians, this, that, our friends, our family, just anyone. I think it merits a conversation about trust, that you should have people that you could trust. Like, what's that guy's name? Uh, DeGrasse Tyson. Is it Mike? Is it Mike? Like him, I trust as far as science or just in general, honestly. um, and yeah, I don't know. There's like some people. Finland came out with being voted like the happiest country because, and trust was one of the reasons, because they trust each other. They have trust with like the country has trust and kindness and something else. So yeah. And people like Blake Lively and things like this are like Trump and everyone. It's like, oh, how do I like tear down the trust so people cannot be united, so people can like believe me and no one else. I can screw with their like perception of reality and they believe what I say. I mean, that's not someone you can trust. That's just someone who's trying to bully your trust, and out of fear. And that's kind of what Blake Lively did, right? Appealing to women, like, women, remember when you went through this, how that felt. Stand on my side. That's what bothered me. That was like my viral moment. And then it like quieted down, because the moment I saw that, up to that point, I was like really apprehensive to really stand strong in one way or another. But when I saw that, I was like, this is not okay, because these are real people, real victims, real women, and it's not okay for you to use them like that, because you're using them. That is not what a victim does. The power that she has, the safety that she has for her to even think of doing that. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, kind of went on a rant over there. Good. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yes, Mike deGrasse Tyson. Sorry, Neil. Oh, I just made you a little bit more average. Yeah. If you're a high profile entertainment lawyer with vast experience, I'm gonna hope your discernment is strong. Yeah. That's my speculation, but clearly her lawyers thought she had a good case or saw a way to make money. Yeah, I think they were like, okay, sure, money, you know. I don't know that they thought a good case. I think if anything, they thought they had a good case because like how many people believed, because they didn't also see all the other side, right? To that point. They saw maybe what Blake had as far as the other side, but not all of it. And so because the whole like movie and stuff wasn't in it. And they might have believed her like many of us believed her. Most of us believed Blake because of her CRD complaints. Like, of course, she's a woman. Why would you lie about stuff like that? You know, I know people talk about Amber Heard, but that was one person. And again, I think that's important. This is one person. Also, this is not a pattern. You should ultimately believe women when they come forth and men when they come forth. That's a whole conversation. You know, we need to get to at one point. Billy Bush, him. Oh my gosh, that was so shocking. If anyone saw again the Army Hammer episode with him, um, they both had gone through sexual harassment or something when they were little. Like, and they were talking about how much higher than reported the cases for boys are. And Justin Baldoni has spoken about this and how like little of them of those cases are reported because men are so much less likely to report it or to like externalize any of that experience. So in that kind of way, so yeah, that's a whole movement waiting to happen. Maybe it's like on the brink now, but yeah, no one that experiences or comes forth saying, hey, I experienced sexual harassment or anything like it, everyone should be believed, male, female, any gender, any time, initially. But that doesn't mean believed and and you convict the other party. It means believed and investigated. And that's all we're asking for and what we're about over here on every channel, really. Um, anyways, continuing on. Um, Still don't understand that people didn't like her because of her awful promos. Yeah, she blatantly ignored survivors. Yeah, but then called upon them. How insulting. She wants to acknowledge to be acknowledged as one now. Yeah, this might come off as crass, but I never for one second believed. No, you had good instinct. People call Hammer a cannibal. I always ask, who did he kill? And yeah, shouldn't he be in prison? Yeah. Well, he said that he's not. He was saying like he's never even eaten his like fingernails. Like, but I'm curious. I'll go down that rabbit hole because I thought that conversation between him and Billy Bush was so fascinating. And yeah, like I mean, I took that with a grain of salt, but that stayed with him for how long? This is what like this is trying to prevent, where at false accusations shouldn't stay with you because the victim says they're a victim. I don't even know how that came about. I need to look into that. But yeah, he says that no, he never ate anything, any kind of human anything. So yeah, I heard that too. I had no idea he was until those accusations. Yeah. Well, but according to him, and I'll do my little deep or medium dive into that, he is not a cannibal. But how many people have been accused? And yeah, it was so watch Billy Bush's interview with him. Just watch it. It's worth it. It's worth it. And it was like really awesome as far as, I always preach I don't know, preach is a good word, but I always preach doing self work. And I love that this is the era of so many people and so many men, especially coming out that they've been through therapy and like just deep dive self work and they have come out better. I mean, I think in that again, I'm just basing it on that one interview. I have to look further, but I don't know, he's at the top of my list of favorite celebrities at this moment, honestly. Army Hammer. And I know that's like really weird to say because I think it still needs to like ripple into mainstream sentiment. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's amazing. At least as far as those points are concerned. I don't know anything else. It was a salacious mess at the height of Me Too. He was also going through a tumultuous divorce. Yeah, I want to believe there's redemption for folks. Yeah. And I would say to people saying that Blake Lively is never going to work in Hollywood again, that Justin Baldoni is never going to work in Hollywood, and all this stuff. Although Army Hammer says it's not very easy to get a job with his past, um, that he says it's also false, some of it. But how many people come back in Hollywood? I mean, we have soap operas, but close enough. They're adjacent. All the people that die, and then suddenly, oh, this is their long lost twin, or oh, they actually didn't die, you know? And I think that's Hollywood too. And I think that's beautiful. If they do the work, if they take accountability, yes, they should have a chance to redeem themselves. But they need to do the work to be worthy of that. And I think based on what he was saying, I think Army Hammer did. And yeah, yeah. I didn't know those people have such bad issues. Josh Brolin, Michael Fassbender, Casey Affleck, and Emma Roberts. I don't know what's up with them. Um, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear anything about them. But I'm guessing I mean, what's worse than cannibalism, though? That's kind of to be accused of that. It's a big one, I think. Anyways, I'm gonna keep going and I'll come back to the chat. At some point in May or June 2023, a simulated nude scene was filmed without an intimacy coordinator present. Hmm. I thought this was like all the intimacy coordinator worthy things and all that stuff was afterwards. I don't remember this being in the complaint. Is this from Blake Lively's complaint or from the Wayfair complaint? According to the fact, okay. Mr. Baldoni discussed orgasm while having sex with his wife, remarking that those have been some of the most beautiful moments between them. And what's the point? What's the bad thing about that? I'm sorry. If that's like a case of he talks about orgasming or whatever all the time, okay, I see that. But this is where, like, is she for real? This is where I'm still, I don't still, and maybe this is where they're coming from. Like, we don't know if she believes it or she knows it's not true. Like, we can't tell. It's so hard to tell with her. Like, it's just like, and also you start to think like, what kind of real adult human being like would believe that's assault or harassment or anything. Anyways, Mr. Baldoni asked Mr. Heath to show Miss Lively while she was eating lunch a video of Mr. Heath's wife giving birth at home, part of which Mr. Heath subsequently showed her. I think she also said a second of it, so she didn't even see anything, but okay. Mr. Baldoni improvised while filming romantic scenes, which was consistent with his prior experience for rehearsing or filming scenes multiple times, often with variations without needing permission. I'm sorry, Blake Lively. That's called acting. That's called being an actor. And yeah, sometimes maybe some people take advantage, and that's why you have intimacy coordinator and you have issues and you have the ability to report it. But generally, I think that I mean, I would go into this, of course this would happen. No, like I love that one girl that said based on her Broadway experience, any actor that is inexperienced or green or doesn't work very much, you can tell because they have issues with things like this. And any actor who is experienced and seasoned and professional, they know exactly the limitations. They know the scope of things. They know what to expect and they know, what's okay and what's not okay. Because there are, even in this, things that are okay or not okay. But they expect things like this. If you have a scene, even with the intimacy coordination, you can have that. I believe from what I'm constantly learning about it, there's a gamut of ways an intimacy coordinator can help out. One can be like to the dot, stunt coordination almost, and another just being there in case they're needed, or whatever, and anything in between. So, like, this is so stupid that this is even brought up. Talk about improvisation. We have even videos of her showing him how to, like, grab her and take her, and we have videos of supposedly her biting his lip when she says that he bit her lip. And, you know, uh, so BS. It's so hard not to call out BS on things like this. Mr. Heath was present in Miss Lively's hair and makeup trailer while she had body makeup removed, and despite her asking him to turn away while they spoke, he may have made eye contact with her. I also love that this is eye contact. This is why people were saying, I remember I thought it was someone else, but I now remember this is why people were saying, like, how convenient that your, plantation wedding and, you know, antebellum South, whatever, fashion line, and that the black men in this group is accused of making eye contact with her while she was, having body makeup removed, which, okay, so people say that was her tattoo on the neck, but she also, talks about in that video, in the is it the dancing video, like, she might have, like, a tan sort of body makeup, or I don't even know. I don't know. I'm not vain enough to know what body makeup is. No offense. Maybe one day I will be, but so it could have been more than that, but whatever. While at one point and later apologized after Miss Lively told him that it had made her feel uncomfortable. But this is even, whether he's black or not black, although that I feel like I can understand why people are pointing that out. And I'm not, you know, doubting that part. I mean, that does not sound good. But I also will say that she says made eye contact. Didn't say he, like, made contact, or he looked at her boob, or looked at her body, or made eye contact. When you're, like, especially if someone's undressing or whatever and they have you in there, whether they invited you, or they, said yes, you can come in, which is not inviting, but inviting meaning, like, hey, come in, on this at this time, versus, like, them knocking and whatever, doesn't matter, semantics. um Maybe he felt uncomfortable. He's like, I don't want to be here, but sure, I'll just make eye contact with you so I don't see anything else, because I don't want to see anything else. It's getting, like, yeah, girl, bye. Exactly. I want to, like, just scream. This is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, I know this. This has it's not new, but I'm reading it kind of almost as new. I don't know. Mr. Baldoni hired a friend to oh goodness, obstetrician in a scene in which Miss Lively's character gives birth, and in which he would be in close proximity to her genitalia. All right. Oh gosh, Mr. Baldoni used, and I will say that, okay, even if she's completely covered wearing pants, I would feel uncomfortable for anyone to be that close in proximity with that region. I have my own issues with that at this time. But I will also let them know, and maybe, like, develop some sort of plan, or some sort of get to know the person, some sort of, what am I trying to think, to the word that I'm trying to think of, rapport or something, to understand, to build that comfort level with, the other person, because I mean, this was a birth scene, so I know that it's not sexual or whatever, and if she had that issue, she could have addressed that. I also can understand if the movie was, as they kind of said in the Reddit post, run poorly, and all this stuff was running late all the time, blah blah blah. But I think it's also important to know, like, her responsibility in that too, because I don't know, this is why I'm saying the complexities of it. Because, yeah, okay, maybe, they didn't have time to think about her all the time. She could have spoken up. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't, before, not after, before. Um, but yeah, I don't know. They said that she was like she had prosthetics, she had shorts, like there was nothing, but I think maybe she's trying to understand, she's trying to say that she just felt uncomfortable with that, which cool. That's maybe one of the things that, but the whole like, oh, hired his friend thing makes me doubt her uncomfortability, because she's making it about not just like someone being around that region and she has that uncomfortability with it, but because, it was his friend. You know, what in the world did she, what is this? Where did she get this? Oh goodness. Anyways. Maybe Blake shouldn't take roles with birth scenes. Yeah. 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 Well, no, I think like you can do that, or you can have like a plan for that. And it sounded like, what's his name? Justin Baldoni was willing to work with her as far as like her body being in shape and where she felt comfortable to show her body more, those scenes that she needed to show her body more based on her workout plan or whatever. So why would he not be as willing to work with her if she would come to him with this? I don't think so. I don't think so. She wanted his friend fired so she could hire the actor she preferred. Yeah. Oh, tonight we'll talk about how her sister was hired for this, and they created a character for her. She wasn't playing a character that was already in the book. So let's talk about hiring friends and whatever. I'm sorry I'm not getting to all of your chats. I'll scan after I'm reading some of this more. Mr. Baldoni hired this friend. Mr. Baldoni used the word sexy to describe Miss Lively at least 2 times, including. This is another one where I'm like, what grade are we in? What are you talking about? Including once when Miss Lively was wearing a onesie with a big coat. I'm sorry, but that one's like, I don't even get that one. I understand that people can catcall, can say sexy in a, raunchy way, in an inappropriate way, but we're not in the office. We're talking about wardrobe. We're talking about with someone that said, oh, the beanie is sexier or whatever, makes that thing more sexy or whatever. And yes, some people are like, well, if she said it, is it okay for him to say it? Absolutely. that that establishes what you're comfortable with. Like I say, I'm not, comfortable with swear words. And I'll say that. And I also will be like, okay, if you want to swear, swear. Like if you overdo it, I might draw more boundaries to it. But if you're just like, whatever about it, okay, fine, whatever. But I tell you, what I'm okay with or not okay with. I don't just like sit there, oh, he's calling me sexy or he's calling this outfit sexy or whatever, and then complain about it, sue him for it. No. Miss Lively privately raised her sexual harassment concerns to Wayfarer, Mr. Baldoni, and Mr. Heath and Sony. Aro, aro. I like she like does this and then she goes back to destroying things. As the fact describes, following the writer strikes, which had ended by November 9th, 2023, Miss Lively's counsel wrote to Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer to address how to handle a return to the set. I also question, like, are these lawyers they're lawyers all the time? In which case they're just so used to, getting their way with nobodies. I don't know. Um, I thought that nothing scares the spirit key. Okay. Um, on November 29, 2023, email explained that it is no surprise to the film's producers. Anyone can say that. But, anyways, that the experience of shooting the film has been deeply concerning on many levels. Not saying much anything, or like anything relating to SH type of stuff. And the complaints of our client and others have been repeatedly conveyed and well documented throughout pre production and photography. The November 9, 2023 email emphasized that Miss Lively at the time was willing to forego a more formal HR process at the time. Why? This is just not good for you, Blake. Just not good at the time, as long as the set is safe moving forward, and attached a document with 17 protections that will need to be guaranteed and observed by the film's producers. Doesn't really say anywhere, does it, in that protections that will need to be guaranteed and observed by the film, or by the film's producers, not just anyone on set. But anyways, it doesn't say anywhere that there's like sexual harassment allegations that are being claimed that need to be addressed. Just saying. I can only imagine the BTS convos these lawyers must be having on the record with Judge Lyman. Lyman isn't happy with stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wonder, if all the lawyers are like, oh my, I know this is just crazy, but let's just get through this. um, Many of these protections tracked the precise incidents described in the FAQ. For example, point one required that an intimacy coordinator be present at all times. Point three prohibited spontaneous improvisation of scenes involving physical touching, simulated sex, or nudity, and required the same to be choreographed with an intimacy coordinator. Point five forbade discussing personal experiences with sex or nudity, including with respect to spouses. Notably, on this point, the waiver parties admit in the fact that Ms. Lively raised concerns to them personally as far back as May 2023, to which Brian Friedman responded like, "Yeah, but not to this extent. Like this wasn't what was understood, or like, yeah." I forget how he said it, but yeah, okay. Point six prohibited anyone from entering Miss Lively's trailer while she was in state of undress for any reason. I love state of undress. 18th century. Point 10 established there would be no retaliation for the requests. Point 16 required that all day players be hired through talent agencies, not personal connections. So fire your sister too, Lively. And point 17 required an all hands meet, and then also fire the editor, fire all the people that you hired from personal connections and not through any agency, through any other means. Fire all of them. And point 17 required an all hands meeting before production resumed. Notwithstanding its purported concerns, Wayfair ultimately found the protections agreeable, signed an agreement committing to all of the terms of the protections for return to production on January 19th and 24, not after they had already sent an email saying, this, but we don't agree with this, we don't agree with that, we don't know where this is coming from. And that's where they included in the amended complaint or the original complaint. Sorry. I think she's okay. I'm trying to, not have her eat, hold on, watercolor and anything that they say it's non-toxic, but you never know. Chocolates. Okay. On January 4th, the parties attended the agreed to all hands meeting, during which the FAQ alleges that Ms. Lively read aloud a list of grievances that the Wayfair parties allege they believed were as troubling as they were fictional. So you're just saying that they didn't believe you're right. Okay. I wonder what's the answer Blake Lively gave. What the answer is when her attorneys asked her about not calling SAG. I need that answered. Yeah, we all need that answer. Probably SAG needs that answer. Can only imagine the BTS combos. Oh, yeah, I already read that. She repeats these stories without context. Yeah, because that was the other thing. Like, she mentions these complaints. Where are the complaints filed? Where are your receipts? Where are your receipts? I'm gonna have to do something about low battery in a second. She repeats these stories. She just couldn't get past her little bump. Yeah. Oh my gosh, the whole bump thing. When Martha Stewart said something, that was okay. But the whole like, congratulations on your little bump. I'm sorry, but no one that speaks English in the US, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but no one that speaks English, at least in the US, would think bump means belly fat. No one has called anyone fat, like, oh, congratulations on your little bump. No one. I'm sorry to use, the word, but I don't know if there's like another word people are using now. But like I don't wouldn't no, people would say like, "Ooh, your belly," or, whatever. Okay, but bump is specific to pregnancy. So don't even know what that freaking was. Um Everything. Little rodent with wings. Now I understand why I don't think that's why people call pigeons rats with wings. But yeah, these parakeets definitely they're like just gnawing everything. Um, but I like all of the creatures, so she just couldn't get past that, and she wanted his friend fire so she could hide. Okay, I read that. Don't believe that post. It regurgitated things and spun them to make JB look weak. Maybe Blake shouldn't take roles with birth scenes. Oh, or all the Wayfarer men and associates want her. Yeah, all the men. She's just that like I mean, I think he did say something like, "Oh, I don't know if he said was it to about Blake that, like he can't believe he's working with Blake Lively or whatever," which I don't know if he said more than that or if like it could be insinuated that he had a crush on her or whatever. But that's like I don't know. It's just awful when people weaponize sincere, like simple, not ill-intended things. This is why people don't hug. I know I was like, anyone want to know? I know you guys don't watch 90 Day Fiance, but Sarper and Shekinah. Sarper is from Turkey and he landed here and he's like, okay, so like, how do you guys greet each other here? Because in Turkey, like you hug and kiss, on each cheek, even between men. And she's like, yeah, definitely not. And they were watching, like the other couples who were watching it and reacting to it, pillow talk, or they call it. And they're like, yeah, no. And I'm like, this is why. This is why, because anyone can sue anyone for anything. Um, and because like everyone's just afraid to like have normal human contact. And what's a result? Disconnection, weakness as a country against like actual bad things because you're not bonded, you're not connected, and then also because you're constantly like not trusting the other. Like, oh, what do you want from me? Why do you want to hug me? Why are you like shaking my hand? Shaking hands apparently is okay. Um, yeah, like I remember just being so upset at that because I know I was like very shy to begin with. I'm like, this is not gonna help. This is gonna make everything worse. That I'm going to be in my head like, oh my gosh, is this appropriate, not appropriate? Is this okay? And then wanting any human being to just be kind with other people and have kindness be, come back to me. And that includes hugging and kissing. And, one day I'll get back to that. But like, anyway, sorry, deviated. Covering up a lie with more lies is not going to help her. Yeah. The fact that she's still lying about this stuff is wild. What scene is that? Big Ivy also communicated with IC. She had her number. Wait, who's IC? All the people listed were physically abusive to her, to their partners, and they've never been called to the carpet on those allegations. Yeah, interesting. Um, that sucks. But Army Hammer, I guess, took it all for them and other people, and like Justin Baldoni now, apparently. It was a salacious mess at the height of the Me Too. Okay, I think I read it down. Intimacy coordinator. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, kindness is now creepy. Yeah, she also had a scene with JB's wife. I'm shocked she didn't add Emily. Yeah, well, she couldn't dare. But in yeah, she only added the women, I guess in fairness, I don't know if this is fair, but she only added the women that were, on the PR, the smear campaign she alleges. Um, but yeah, she also had women fired. But I'm sure that day she was, like, super nice and super, like, probably trying to bond with Emily or, whatever, like, we've seen her with Salma Hayek and stuff, like, just, like, turn on the charm. So she wouldn't expect anything, but I don't know. I think it was too late by that time, probably. Seems as though only A-listers can congratulate her on a bump. Yeah, yeah. Although, I mean, yeah, Martha Stewart didn't say baby bump, but it's interesting because Martha Stewart was like, she didn't even know what to call her or what to say, but she was like motioning awkwardly, like, congratulations in order. I hear you're pregnant. I forget what she was saying. It was just like awkward. And it makes me think, like, did she already see that? But, or maybe like Blake Lively's team was saying because it was after, and they're like, oh, don't say bump, don't say this, don't say that. Who knows? And Martha's like, okay. Right. Well, hmm. My laptop is low battery. What to do? How much more is this? Oh, we're on page 7. Oh, crap. Let me just switch over. Wait, where did I leave off? Shoot, was C, right? C? Yes, C. Okay. I think I can finish this part. Out of desperation and fear that their reputations were at risk, Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair go on the offense. Inserted a D. Sorry, I hate when people say that, but sometimes it's like you're reading and it just slips out. At some point in the summer of 2024, Mr. Baldonian Wayfarer grew increasingly fearful, desperate, and terrified that Miss Lively would publicly discuss what happened on the set of the film and decided to go on offense, engaging a team to discredit Miss Lively before her previously documented sexual harassment concerns could become public. Among the individuals whom Mr. Baldoni engaged for this work were his co-plaintiffs Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan. Everyone forgot about these people in one text, except for probably their industry. In one text message between the two of them, Miss Nathan explained that they could not write "We will destroy Miss Lively" because one could only imagine if a document saying all the things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands, which they also said that wasn't Justin, that they were talking about Jamie Heath and blah, blah. Miss Nathan wrote, we can bury anyone. Although it makes no effort to explain the actual legal claims flow from these allegations, the fact alleges that, on information and belief, Ms. Lively directed the Sloan parties to orchestrate a smear campaign against Baldoni in the media, including the Times. And a talent agency executive told Heath and Abel that Miss Lively believed Wayfair, Baldoni, and Heath were waging a shadow campaign against her. Sorry, I don't remember that part. That's interesting. So someone in WME told them that Miss Lively was waging a shadow campaign, or did she believe that they were? That's okay. Huh. Interesting. Sure, Blake. As we've learned, crisis PR can be to push positives about a person or product and not planting negative stories. Blake Lively created her own negative press. Yeah, Blake knows she's lying and can't face either of them until court. Yeah. Yeah, these people haven't even seen each other yet. It's going to be interesting. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say exactly that. Crisis PR is probably anything, but it's usually, yeah, as a defense tactic, I would say. If you don't need a crisis PR because you need to protect yourself, you just have regular PR to say whatever. I don't know. We'll see. I hear that other part is a little bit more nuanced than this one. On August 10th, 2024, Miss Nathan's team reported that they had started to see a shift on social due largely to Jed Wallace and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. In one text message, Miss Nathan states that Mr. Baldoni, excuse me, doesn't realize how lucky he is right now because the whispering and also, this is where they were saying, no, it was actually Mr. Heath, not Mr. Baldoni, that they were saying this about, because the whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations, there is just so much circulating in the press, including reports of other members feeling uncomfortable. They're not admitting that happened. They're just saying that considering what's being circulated in the press, considering what's being said or whatever, which I don't remember that being said before her CRD complaint, but I wasn't, watching that closely. But that's what they're saying, that whoever should be, consider themselves lucky because of the whispers, or not the whispers, sorry, these allegations don't sound good. Um, yeah. Anyways, on August 13, 2024, the fact alleges that Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds were facing an overwhelming tide of negative publicity and that social media had turned against them. Fast, I would say. Okay, hold on. Let me bring in my, oh boy, sorry. All these like different stops and goes. I don't even know why I take my mic with me. Oh, did it go? So sorry for that. That was really loud. All right. I'm gonna do a standing desk. Should I go this way? Ignore these like this is where, the parakeet loved um going and chewing. Okay. Alrighty. Gonna let it catch up for a second because it's kind of freezing on me. Like the laptop, not the of things. JB hired crisis PR to support positives about him. That is documented in his complaint. Yeah. But I wouldn't really I wouldn't find well, okay. If it's not true, if the allegations are not true, that's pretty standard, I would imagine. Maybe we can say that's not nice or whatever, but to say not even I mean, to not say untruths about someone, but if something's true, like making that come to light, I don't know, but that's I guess that's like the issue that we'll see. I don't remember so much what. Wait, Aro, wait, Chuk, go. Please. Sorry, I don't trust her. We don't trust each other because she bites sometimes, and I'm like, don't be that close to my neck. Why is this so? My laptop, I think it's overheating or something. It's like, which is weird. Anyways, Miss Lively takes legal lead legal action concerning the Wayfair party's conduct during and after production of the film, which the Times reports on. On December 20th, 2024, Miss Lively filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department. The complaint alleges 10 claims under California law, including, so this is like maybe why she switched to New York. That's a good question. That's a very good question. Um, anyway, including all of these things. The CRD complaint is virtually identical to the initial complaint Miss Lively filed on December 31st. I mean, you mean like the lawsuit? Together with the CRD complaint, the legal complaints. Okay. On December 21, 2024, The Times published an article titled "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine," reporting on and drawing heavily from the claims and allegations set forth in the CRD complaint. The article is accompanied by a video in which a Times reporter summarizes the article, noting that it was based directly on the CRD complaint, the video, together with the article, the Times publications. However, the other thing that's in question is that reporter also said, I like how we're using distancing languages for this too. Um, the reporter said what really happened. So, you know, sounds more like just like, oh, well, this is what's claimed. No. Um, the court may take judicial notice of the CRD complaint and separately consider it because it is expressly incorporated by reference into the fact and is a document integral to it. CRD is the state agency charged with investigating workplace misconduct. That's not really answering questions. The article reports on and, in the Wayfarer party's words, draws heavily from the CRD complaint. They just said that. The Wayfarer parties sued the Times in California State Court on December 31st, 2024. It is so confusing why they're like suing in all these different courts. Yeah. In response to Miss Lively's legal complaints, the Wayfarer, maybe because, I don't know, I don't know, also stated they reviewed hundreds of pages of documentation. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Beyond the CRD complaint. Correct. And that's another thing we're waiting on. Where was the subpoena for these text messages included? In response to Miss Lively's legal complaints, the Wayfarer parties retaliate against Miss Lively with a meritless counterattack. On January 16th, 2025, the Wayfarer parties initiated this separate action against Miss Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist, the Sloan parties. 2 weeks later, on January 31st, the Wayfarer parties filed the operative fact, adding the Times as a defendant and attaching a 168-page single-spaced. I'm sorry, that's something like a college student would say, or like, yeah, like single space or double space, because it matters. Because I have to write less if it's double spaced. I hated double spaced, but it's easier to read, like 1.5 at least. But yeah. Anyways, okay. I hated it because it always seemed like a waste of space. Yeah, a little too much. Narrative timeline as Exhibit A. The fact asserts 7 causes of action against Miss Lively. Whew, sorry. Each based upon her exercise of her legal right to speak out about workplace misconduct. 1, civil extortion. 2, defamation. Okay, things we've seen. Legal standard. In reviewing a motion to dismiss under federal something, the court accepts all factual allegations are true and draws all reasonable inferences in the plaintiff's favor. This requirement is inapplicable. Oh my gosh, Arena, inapplicable to legal conclusions. A complaint must offer more than labels and conclusions or a formulaic recitation of the elements of a cause of action or naked assertions devoid of further factual enhancement in order to survive dismissal. Let me read that again. Hold on. A complaint must offer more than labels and conclusions or a formulaic recitation of the elements of a cause or of action or naked assertions devoid of further factual enhancement in order to survive dismissal. Okay. Argument. The parties agree that California law applies to all claims against Ms. Lively. The Wayfarer parties assert their claims under the substantive laws of the state of California, reiterating their insistence on the application of California law to the Wayfarer party's claim, and then the same. Okay. while other parties may dispute that a proper choice of law analysis would permit application of California law to the Wayfarer party's claims against them. Ms. Lively agrees that California law applies to the claims asserted against her. Oh, she I'm while others might have a problem with it, Miss Lively is so kind-hearted to allow it, is what I'm getting from that. And I'm sorry, I'm just like so over her. I'm having a very hard time not to be petty when it comes to like things that she says. Yes, how they get so many from where. Nearest also stated they reviewed hundreds of, oh yeah, the pages. Yeah, yeah. Well, the subpoena, so-called subpoena. We don't know. That agreement alone is insufficient to establish choice of law. This is very confusing with the different states. Even in the absence of such agreement, an analysis would also mandate application of California law, jurisdiction having the greatest interest in the claims asserted against Miss Lively. Okay. So the SH stuff is, I think, is why she applied through California first. And under California law is what that side should be considered through. Unlike any other party to this action, if anyone is on Ask Two Lawyers Live today or whenever they have one, if you can like formulate a concise version of like this confusion that we all have as far as like what is going on with the two different states, the laws, and why was it filed, and different things were filed in different states and all this stuff, because I'm so bad at being concise. And before I know it, I'm like, well, I reached my end, I can't type any more letters in this message. But yeah, even in the absence of such agreement, that unlike any other party to this action, Miss Lively was employed by Wayfair, which is based in California. Okay, and Miss Lively and Wayfair agreed that all disputes related to Miss Lively's employment would be governed. Okay, we got one question down. Can deem California law applicable? Yeah. In addition, though, oh, sorry, under New York law, the choice of law analysis is generally done separately for each claim and defense. Okay. Wayfarer parties allege that each of the Wayfarer parties entered into a contract by which Lively agreed to perform as an actor in the film. That contract contains a choice of law clause providing that California law shall govern all other causes of action, whether sounding in contract or in tort, arising out of or relating to this agreement, or lender's engagement and or Lively's services hereunder, or otherwise relating to the picture. Emphasis added. Under New York law, a choice of law provision expressly stating that controversies arising out of or relating to the contract is sufficiently broad to include tort claims related to the contract. Um, And then for Wayfair, they allege their alleged harms have been suffered in California, is what they state, where they are either domiciled and or do business. And Ms. Lively joins and incorporates as if fully set forth herein the motions made by defendants Sloan and Vision. Okay. All right. So that kind of answers the question, but it is sounding messy. In addition, the Wayfarer parties based their claims on statements made by Ms. Lively in a complaint filed with a California state agency to seek relief from a California employer's violations of California law. California has an interest in not only ensuring that its employers comply with its laws, but also in protecting Miss Lively's exercise to her right to speak out about and seek remedies for sexual harassment and retaliation. Indeed, California provides additional protection from defamation based suits like this one to those who choose to come forward with their stories about such conduct. California made this interest clear by recently adopting Assembly Bill 933, which you had mentioned, AB 933, titled Privileged Communications Incident of Sexual Assault, Harassment, or Discrimination. Um, cod codificat. That's in Romanian. I can't say it in English right now. In these sections, provides a qualified privilege designed to ensure that individuals who experience this are able to share their experiences with courts, agencies, the press, and others without fear of being sued for doing so. However, they didn't sue her for going to the press. They sued her, they countersued her. I feel, why is that so different to me and they're not seeing the difference, and it might not be a difference. We'll see what the judge decides. For the foregoing reasons, this court should apply California law to the claims asserted against Miss Lively. But again, they didn't start the suing, because this sounds like, yeah, they're able to share their experience with courts, agencies, press, and others without fear of being sued for doing so. I understand the courts are there, but to me, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too simply here, and also too biased against this absurdity, what I feel is absurdity. I got my legal degree from The Good Wife, The Good Fight suits, and for those scripts, suits in different states are due to laws that are more beneficial to them. Yeah, I have an issue with this because it implies her story is true and the accused can't defend themselves. Yeah, I also have an issue with this whole, like, suing and filing in all the different states because it's like more in your favor. I have an issue with that. But yeah, absolutely. Um I have a huge problem with be having, because in a perfect world, but we're not that. Humans lie. So in a perfect world where humans wouldn't lie, that would make sense that, okay, you can file that you have had this experience and no one can, like, to you, come at you with anything. But we're not in a perfect world. And so many people do lie, not about this, but in general. And if these parties, the Wayfair parties, believe they've been wrongfully accused, have been lied about, um, I feel like, yeah, they should have every right to defend themselves in court. Countersuing, I feel like, should be, like, kind of like, it's defense. But we'll see what the judge says. Called her out for abusing the courts in this way. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm glad that he said it that way too, because I think she said that about him, like, oh, look, they abuse the legal system because they're providing so mmany pages, so many, words, so many things, and they're making it public, whatever they all said. And it's like, no, I think, oh my gosh, I wish I could see her. She's like in my pocket. Like, she hate to be petty and childish, but she did it first. And yeah, the women don't lie. Yeah. No, how could we lie? We're just so, like, different. We're such a different species. We're not human. Women don't lie. I don't know who believes that. I grew up in a culture where I feel like women manipulating, like, men is, in various ways, is not a given by any chance, but, like, is definitely, like, expected or common enough to, like, know that. So for me, this whole thing, like, women don't lie and believe all women, is like, no, that's BS. But okay. But I understand the principle of it being like, like I said, believe women when they come forth, believe anyone when they come forth with any, allegation that they're a victim of anything, honestly. And then research, investigate, and, find the proof one way or another. Um, yeah. Yeah. Gosh, sorry. I don't like it either. Yeah. Um, did I read that whole first paragraph? For foregoing reasons, the court should apply California rule. Yeah. Okay. The court should dismiss the facts claims against with prejudice. Like they could never, they like that's what prejudice I learned to be, right? Like they can never ever do or, ask for whatever, not amendment, but like, oh no, like what's that word when people like the trial doesn't go their way or whatever, and then they do this, they try again, whatever the word is, because they fail to state claims upon which relief may be granted. The defamation claim fails because the Wayfair parties fail to identify specific and unprivileged statements. Not anymore. The defamation claim fails as a matter of law. To state a claim, a plaintiff must plead a publication that is false, defamatory, and privileged and unprivileged, and that has a natural tendency to injure or that causes special damage. All of the above. No one, no, not one of these elements is adequately pled, isn't it? I thought it was. The way parties fail to meet basic pleading requirements to identify specific defamatory statements by Ms. Lively. As a preliminary matter, the defamation claim must be dismissed based on the Wayfair party's utter failure to plead any allegedly defamatory statements with sufficient specificity. I just, I don't know. I failed to take a breath on that one. Um, whatever. To survive dismissal, the disparagement set forth in the complaint must be sufficiently close to the actual words proved to acquaint a defendant with what he must defend against. Oh, okay. A long line of cases in this district holds that a defamation claim is only sufficient if it adequately identifies the purported communication and an indication of who made the communication, when it was made, and to whom it was communicated. Even under liberal federal pleading standards, I can see how some of the things weren't very specific as far as this is. Okay. This is especially true for libel. Even for slander, a plaintiff must plead with sufficient particularity to give notice of the issues and enable defendant to prepare defense. Sorry, my other parakeet literally just like flew to my butt. I don't think if you can see, I don't know if you can see the situation. I have one parakeet here trying to get into the pocket, and then the other one just flew away from my butt. Bye. Bye, Maria. Have fun. Um, Let me bring this one because it wants a little bit of the action too. It's like, hey, you guys. Sorry for the poop. And I like how she has or he has or whatever this little. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I am like in a mini version. Like a little feather, just like hanging or sweeping out. All right. The defamation claim must be dismissed unless it specifically identifies the specific words as well as who said them and to whom. Arnaldo, it's pretty gross. The courts are already packed with frivolous cases. She's adding to it. Can this mean money for the courts due to filing fees? But it's waste of resources. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Um, As set forth above, the fact does not assert a single defamatory statement attributable attributable sorry, that word to Miss Lively, and instead identifies two categories of defamatory statements that are entirely contained within the four corners of the legal complaints. Yet nowhere do the Wayfarer parties explain which of the eight plaintiffs in this action was allegedly defamed, identify with purported defamatory statements made by Miss Lively, or otherwise identify any false allegations asserted by her that supports their defamation claim, leaving Miss Lively to guess at what to defend against. The claim fails for this reason alone. All right. The statute of limitations bars defamation liability premised on statements made before January 17th. Even if fact does sufficiently allege defamatory statements, any such statements related to sexual harassment must be dismissed as outside the 1 year statute of limitation. Is that oh god? Is that why she filed this late? The thing is, she's claiming these now with her CRD complaint. That's when she's claiming these. That's within 1 year. But also, is that why she filed? Sorry, poop cleanup. Is that why she filed this now? So they could use this and they could say, well, sorry, the 1 year passed. I had this happen with Amazon. Literally had this happen with Amazon where they like put me through loops and hoops and I lost $500 wrongfully to them because they were like, oh, yeah, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. We'll give you the money back. We'll do this. We'll do that. We're waiting for this, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly, like, oh, whoops, 90 days passed. So, or 4 months or whatever. So, can't do anything about it now. Bye. Like, that's not uncommon for people to do. But I also would argue that the claims are with her complaint. Anyways, I think she isn't going to stop having a tantrum. Nobody believes her. Yeah. I will say I don't know where it was said and who was saying it and whatever, but no. But if this is dismissed or if she wins, she knows she hasn't won the public, right? Because if it's dismissed on technicalities, like what is kind of argued here and stuff like that, it's just going to make it even worse for her in the public where she wants to work again, where she wants to be adored, where she wants to like be, um accepted and stuff. And that's where like, legal system is one thing, but also um it's important on how that legality is enforced, meaning like the final like ending, whether it was a settlement, that for sure is not going to go well right now. If it was a specific verdict or whatever, um yeah, it's good. And I wish that we could do this with all the cases, but we can't. But it's good for us to understand why it was ended that way. Like with Alec Baldwin, that's such a complicated mess. But my understanding is that he got off on a technicality of like a comma was missing. Not that although why did I think of that one? Something like that. And so doesn't make him less guilty, does it? And some people felt like he wasn't guilty to begin with and he was wrongfully like put through that. Like so yeah, I think that's important. So, do your temper tantrum as you're saying here. And then what are you left with? Okay. Under California, because if she would come like, hey, no, guys, believe me, because look at this, look at that, look at that. And I think it's so telling that someone is not showing their hands, but is showing everyone else's hands. She roped in that NG whatever and showing the screenshots of her, but not what Blake wrote to her or anything else. That is so horrible. That is so horrible. So horrible. So messed up. Okay. Where is this? Okay. Under California's uniform Publication Act, no person shall have more than one cause of action for damages for libel or slander or invasion of privacy or any other tort founded upon any single publication or exhibition or utterance. This rule applies without limitation to all publications. Again, this is Ryan's. I don't know if I even want to read the rest of this, because this sounds very much like almost exactly like Ryan's motion to dismiss. And do they know they're not publications, or is publication just like made things public? In other words, the first publication of an allegedly defamatory statement triggers the 1 year limitations period. I'm very unhappy with the way that she might be using the legal system, abusing it. To survive a motion to dismiss, the facts defamation claims must be premised on statements made on or after January 17, 2024. Initial complaint filed on January 16, 2025. Oh no. She published the 1732 points in her complaint, though. Both of them. Here it is obvious from the face of the complaint that Miss Lively published the same. Okay, there we go. Actions on which the facts defamation claims rest well before January 17, 2024. The fact, for example, asserts that Ms. Lively first conveyed her allegations via the 17-point protections for return to production on November 9th, 2023, which was shared with both Wayfair and Sony, although they admit she had raised some concerns as far back as May 2023. As early as November 2023, the Wayfair parties believed the document to contain false accusations couched as demands that Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath engaged in sexually inappropriate conduct during filming. The fact goes on to admit that during the January 4th, 2024 all hands meeting, Ms. Lively read aloud a list of grievances, including those in the protections for return production, as well as others, which again, the Wayfarer parties believed were fictional and had either never happened or had been grossly mischaracterized. The fact thus confirms on its face that Miss Lively published her allegations to Wayfair, sorry, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and others prior to January 17, 2024. In the face of the fact makes clear that the allegations contained in Miss Lively's legal complaints and those that appear in the Times publications first appeared in the 17 point. Oh my gosh, the circle kind of writing is just exhausting. This much the Wayfair parties cannot dispute, since their theory is that Miss Lively used those grievances and the 17 points to cede her allegations more than a year before filing her CRD complaint. And they believe these points allegedly established the foundation for Miss Lively's baseless claims of pervasive sexual harassment in the perfect narrative poison pill. Consequently, this court should dismiss with prejudice the category of defamation claims in the fact based upon Miss Lively's sexual assault harassment allegations. Oh gosh, I feel like taking a break. I hate that we're like again halfway mark. I don't even know. Multiple privileges bar the defamation claim. The defamation claim must also be dismissed because the fact is missing a key element of the Wayfarers Party's affirmative pleading burden. Specifically, the fact fails to assert that Miss Lively's allegedly defamatory conduct was unprivileged. It is entirely appropriate to adjudicate privilege on a motion to dismiss, and it is more than warranted here. Hmm. Yet the fact so shockingly, all of the Wayfarer parties have alleged defamation claims against Miss Lively. Um, Yet the fact does not attempt to explain how any of Miss Lively's statements were unprivileged vis-a-vis any of any one of the plaintiffs, such as Mr. Sarowitz or Wayfair Studios LLC. To the contrary, the facts allegations establish that all of Miss Lively's alleged conduct was privileged. Um, hmm, Interesting message. Two separate and absolute privileges bar the defamation claim. The fair report privilege. I will say, I don't know about you guys, but I'm burned out. I'm going to pause this on page 15 or 16 technically, and then come back. Um it's weird. Yeah, I don't know if I'll reread it tonight. Tonight I don't want to read any of this, so I'll just probably resume it another day. Maybe Saturday or whatever. Or maybe if I have time before tonight, because tonight I want to like relax. I have other stories, other things that I wanted to talk about that is happening, and yeah, so we'll see where things go. Let me just head on to court listener and see if anything's new or newly available. No, so yeah. um Gonna go eat lunch, do more homework, find out what else is out there. And yeah, thank you guys for being here as always. And I'll see you tonight, hopefully, where we can like wind down. What did I call it? Chill and chat? Yeah, we'll chill and chat. Have a wonderful day. And yeah, have a great rest of your day until tonight. Bye. Peace, love, and compassion.